Hello everyone, welcome. So today I wanted to walk you through my setup for fall, and it's really not that different from what I used the rest of the year and have already made videos about, but there are some important changes, so I'd like to walk you through them. I will, as per usual, put links in the description to everything I talk about in case you'd like to get something for yourself or a gift for someone else. And I will also put timestamps in the first pinned comment if you'd like to jump back and forth through the sections, because we're going to talk about my traveler's notebook, which is what I would call my everyday carry, and then also my journal or commonplace book. And they have a lot of similarities. I will have most of the same supplies that I'm using for both of them, but I'll give you kind of some insight into why I chose each thing. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here, welcome. Key Lime Ink is all about art, journaling, and planning, everything to do with making your paper look pretty. So let's get started with this traveler's notebook. This summer, a absolutely wonderful viewer, thank you, you know who you are, Jenny, a wonderful viewer sent me some covers that she thought I might like. She wasn't using them and she wanted them to have a good home, and she could not have made better choices. Like, it's exactly what I would have chosen for myself. So I've put this into the rotation. This is from Speckled Fawns, and I don't know what it's called. If you're watching, anybody involved with Speckled Fawns or their fans, if you know what this is called, please put it in the comments section. The thing that's pretty cool about her shop is that it's so custom that she'll have like certain leathers just for a very short period of time, whatever she can get her hands on, and then that'll go away and you'll never see it again. And then, she'll move on to a different kind of leather. So it's not as simple as, hey, you can go get this exact same thing right now. That might not be possible, but this will show you what she's capable of making, and it is fantastic. So it's this really, really nice dark leather, kind of somewhere between a cognac and like an espresso brown. Just gorgeous. It's the same leather for the pockets and the cover, and it's beautifully sewn. It has a reinforced binding. This is a standard or regular size. Usually when you open these up, it's going to end up being about 11 inches wide, fully open. So standard or regular size. This one does not have any kind of pen loops, but it does have the nice kind of wild pocket on front, like a raw pocket, and these little rivets here to hold that in place. And so I have just been clipping my pens backwards like this, and that works just fine. So you open it up, and the inside has a beautiful texture. You've got secretarial pockets on the front and the back. In the back, I just have some receipts. And then in the front, I have a bookmark. I have probably had this bookmark for maybe 30 years. I don't know. I was going through some old things. It's from the Antioch Publishing Company. And it's a beautiful unicorn, and it says, "Imagination rules the heart." So I've kept that in there just because it's pretty. And then this TN has 4 bands, so there's lots of room to expand. I ended up putting 4 inserts in here. That's kind of my happy place for an everyday carry. And usually I have a card pocket holder that wraps around it. You can get those through Traveler's Company. I'll put a link in the description. They're almost always available at Amazon. And that helps me keep pictures, credit cards, library card, like that kind of thing, so that I can also use this as a wallet. But I took it out today because it just has so much personal information. The first insert here is from Wanderings, and it is, I love the Wanderings inserts because they take watercolor exceptionally well. They are priced a little bit lower than Traveler's Company, so you get a little more for your money. They have a sewn binding, nice rounded corners. The paper is kind of a cream color. It depends on whether you look at their Etsy shop or their Amazon shop and what's in stock at that time. But they definitely almost always have blank. So I usually get those when I want to scribble or paint or do anything like that. For this front book, which is my list book, I get the squared grid. And then occasionally I've tried the ruled grid. I don't use dot grid just because it doesn't work with my brain. My brain and dot grid do not get along. And I know that so many people love it. So I guess it's just the way that we're wired. I really prefer blank most of the time. This list book grid is nice because it keeps everything nice and tidy. So for example, in my list book, I have things like, you know, automotive appointments, beauty salon appointments, health notes, doctor's visits, books I'm reading, movies and series that I'm watching, etc. And I'll give you an example here. So this is movies and series. I've talked about this a million times. I actually have a whole video on my list book. It goes with me from notebook to notebook. If I'm changing out the planners, those move in and out. If I'm changing out the jotter, it goes in and out, but this list book always stays here. This is my brain on paper, and it keeps me organized with all those extra things, you know, like I have a list of songs that people have recommended and I jot them down, or quotes that I come across. Just list. So go to that video and you can see all the different lists that I have included here. But here's an example with the movies and series. I'll write down the name of what I watched or what someone has suggested, who's in it, just kind of the main star to jog my memory, and what channel or service it's on. And then after I've watched it, I give it a grade, or if I didn't like it, I put DNF, did not finish. So that has served me well for years, really, of keeping track of what I'm watching. And it's always handy, you know, like you go to lunch with somebody and you're talking about what you've liked recently. I can quickly look here and say, well, I gave an A+ to Clarkson's Farm. That's on Prime. Okay, anyway, moving on. So that's the list book. Then my planner just has not changed in years and years and years. And I made a video, I think this summer, talking about my current setup. It hasn't changed. I use the Travelers Company number 018 inserts. They are weekly. And here's an example of a page that I haven't filled out too much personal information yet. This is Thanksgiving week coming up. So the 018 weekly is blank, but it has the columns drawn out for you. So I don't have to sit there with a ruler and draw. But I can start it at any time and I can fill in the dates how I want them. So it goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You get a separate space for Saturday and Sunday, which is always good in my book. And then I use a Zebra Sensations brush pen, which is water resistant, super easy to control, great pen. And I go 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. In the top right, I put the month, the days of the week, and the year. I make this a to-do list or like a mini bullet journal over here on the right side. Water plants every week, but then as that week comes up, I'll put things that just need to be done at some point during the week. I always draw in the weather after it happens. So if it's sunny, it gets the sunshine. If we have a tornado, you know, draw the little tornado logo. Whatever the weather is goes up here. In the first probably 2 rows at that like 8 and 9 a.m. period, I'll put things that have to be done that day. I add a couple of stickers here and there. That is the Life Organized sticker book from Paper House. This says number 6. I am on my 6th book of these. I've used them for years. I just absolutely adore them. They're watercolor based. They cover all the holidays. I am a broken record. If you've been here before, you know about these, but I'm showing you because you might be new and you might not know about this sticker book yet. So I'll put a link to where you can get it. Amazon has it, but also Paper House's website has it, and I have a coupon code for you. So you can do some price shopping and see which one is a better deal. But anyway, so for Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving here with a little bit of gold foil accent. And then give thanks down here at the bottom. Then in the middle of the page, I put, you know, what I have to do or what I did do. So it's forward planning, but it's also just a little bit of backwards as well. A little bit of memory keeping at the end of the day. And then at the bottom, I have a little area where I can do some micro journaling about what went on that week. And the front part is what I use as a medical tracker, because there are some tracking pages. Those are super personal. But I've made videos about how I set this up, and it talks a lot about that medical planning section, or recording section, tracking section. So I'll put links to those videos down below, and you can go learn more about them there. And then the last insert is just a jotter. It's just a blank wanderings insert. I've been doing some watercolor testing, so that's what's been in those pages. But it's also good just when I need to do long division and I don't have my phone handy. Or it's good for a shopping list or something like that. This is not stuff that I need to keep forever. This is not going in any kind of a memory book. It's just to have blank paper available at any time. It's literally a jotter. And again, that's just a wanderings insert. And you might notice that I have bookmarks. I made this. So I took an extra band from a traveler's notebook. And I think this is from actual Traveler's Company. It looks like theirs, but it doesn't matter. You could even use a hairband for this. And just take a ribbon and tie it. So tie your ribbon there and then slip it on. Put the ribbon knot at the top, and then that gives you 2 bookmarks. So I could have one here, and I could have one back here with the movies if I wanted, you know, wherever I want it to go. Then I have these 2. And when they get raggedy here, then I cut them so they look nice and pretty again. And then when I run out, I start over when it starts getting looking really messy. Or if I want to change up the colors, like I thought this pretty burgundy was pretty, you know, for fall to go with the rest of this. Dashboards here. This one is a heart cut out from junk mail from the American Heart Association, and then I just glued it in. And I use Staples glue tape. I use my ink rewards to get these, so technically they end up being free. They just have always been the smoothest to me. They go on really smooth. They don't have any kind of show through on the other side of the page. They stay sticky. So Staples glue tape and junk mail for that one with that pretty folk art design. And then this one is a sticker from Navy Peony. I get those from Amazon. This was from a little set about faith. And then this one, oh no, I don't have one. I didn't put a dashboard this 6-month period. So I'll probably find something that's fall oriented. Why don't we pick one from here? Let's see. This is pretty, right? Let's do the maple tree. Let's celebrate nature this season. All right, so now I have a dashboard for fall, and my jotter doesn't need a dashboard. It really just doesn't. But if I come across something fun, I'll stick it on there. And then my tabs here, 1, 2, 3. I have a tab that marks movies and series. I have a tab that marks my health tracker, and then I have a tab that is for the week. And those tabs are from Avery. They are repositionable. And let me show you. Here was that Thanksgiving week again. So this one is kind of, it probably needs replaced. It's gotten a little bit old. They last forever and ever. It ends up being sort of like a Post-it note. So it goes on like this, and then you can just pick it up and move it around and put it back on. So it's repositionable. And I would say one of these can last without looking dingy for maybe a year, and then I switch them out. And the little set comes with like 4 of each color. So one set will last you quite a long time. You can write on these. I don't, because I know what each color means. I've been using the same color code for years, but you can write on them just with a regular pen or a Sharpie or whatever you want. So yeah, they're super, super useful. So that's my everyday carry traveler's notebook. And then my journal is, I'm gonna call this a commonplace book. It has venting, it has artwork because I can paint on these Leuchtturm1917 pages. It's just awesome. The cover is again a gift from the same amazing viewer. I wanted these to kind of go together this fall. They're both from Speckled Fawns, and you can see, you can kind of tell whether it's an older style or a newer style based on the logo. This is Speckled Fawns really early here. And then this is the newer logo on this one, which is an A5. So again, I'm sorry, I don't know the color of the leather. If you do, please let us know in the comments section. But just like this one, I have the raw edge here. And so I use that as a pen holder. And then you've got this beautiful, again, probably like a cognac color leather. The stitching is turquoise, super pretty. And you open this up and you've got 3 pockets here and then a folio pocket. And then in the back, you have a secretarial pocket. And this is a Leuchtturm 1917 411 page notebook. If I had known that these were going to end up being like collector's items, I would never have written in it. But I thought they were just going to be available all the time. So I got one in the spring, and you can see how far I've gotten. I've used it for a lot of research and note-taking recently, but a little bit of watercolor as well. So you can see that the papers are, or the pages are starting to warp a little bit because of the watercolor. But yeah, it's, you know, your typical classic Leuchtturm 80 GSM, but instead of the normal 251 pages, is that right? Is it 251 or 256? Instead of the original, it has 411 pages. So if you ever get a chance to get one of these, I think it's handy just because I don't have to change out my notebook as often. They do have numbered pages. This one is ruled, and in the back, I have a pen test here that shows how pretty much everything, brush pens, gel pens, rollerball pens, zebra mild liner highlighters, fountain pens, zebra Sarasa, Papermate Flare, Pentel Fude Touch is more dye-based, Sharpie, Pit Artist is pigment-based, and then these are watercolors, Mei Liang, pretty excellent, which is prone to bleed through, especially this mauve color. And because theirs are more dye-based, and then these watercolors are from White Nights, and they're much more pigment-based, so they don't usually bleed through much. And you can see the results. A little bit of ghosting with those pens, but the only pen that actually bleeds through is a Sharpie. That's typical for any notebook. And then the watercolors, the only thing that bleeds through is that Mei Liang, which I would expect because it's so dye-based. But yeah, I can use most of my pens and markers here and use both sides of the page. I really like watercoloring in a Leuchtturm. A lot of people don't, but I do ink and wash, which is very kind of precise and usually just like not a whole lot of layering. I don't do big washes with tons of water. So for my purposes and the way that I do illustrations, this is fine. So here's an example of the way that I use my commonplace book. A lot of times I'll find a quote I like, something to illustrate, and then I'll write about it. And it might be 1 page or it might be 20 pages that day. It's whatever I feel like I need to get out. So in this instance, this was in August, I was putting together a custom palette of watercolors. Instead of buying another whole set, I went back and found the colors that I liked best from each brand, because not every brand does all colors perfectly. It's really hard to say, I only use Schmincke, or I only use Sennelier, or I only use Da Vinci, because I've found that some of them have strengths in certain colors. So I ended up with this lovely palette of 42 colors that made me happy from a lot of different brands. And so I sketched this out with a Tombow mono drawing pen. These are fine liners. They are technically, they're technical drawing pens, but they're technically just like a Sakura Pigma Micron, except in my experience, they hold up longer. The tips hold up longer. So I enjoy these for all my sketching like this. And then I can paint immediately. It's dry instantaneously. So I painted this with the actual colors that I mentioned. So this is like 8 different brands of watercolors. And then the quote is a song lyric from Black Pumas. It's a good day to see all my favorite colors. So I do this a lot. I put something pretty on one side of the page. I find a quote to go with it or a song lyric. And then I write and write and write on the facing page, and sometimes many, many more. So there you go, Leuchtturm1917 Journal. This one, can you see the color? I don't want to take it out, but can you see that pretty, pretty color? It's like raspberry. In a speckled fronds A5 size cover. And I can put my pens there. And then this is my TN. And put those pens there. And that way, wherever I am, if I've only taken one with me, I've got my pens. So that's a Uniball Signo RT1, which I mention in probably every video. Water resistant ink. It's got that grip that goes all the way from the tip of the pen about halfway up the barrel. There are no cutouts or anything, so it's super comfortable anywhere your fingers land. And it comes in different colors, and it is refillable like that. So there's a link down below to that pen. All right, pens, markers, paints, journals, inserts, covers. I think we've got it all covered. We even talked about stickers and junk mail today. Thank you so much for being here. What are you using? What's your current everyday carry situation for your journal and your planner? Please feel free to jump in the comments section and add your situation, and we can turn it into a conversation. Have a wonderful day, and do me a favor and click like and subscribe and all that good stuff so that you keep seeing my videos. Bye-bye.